All right, we heard y'all like recruiting nuggets, and we got more nuggets than the basketball team in Denver.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. And I recognize that my open was terrible, and I'm sorry, but I had to do it on the fly. Thank you for making us your first listen. And also want to thank our host sponsor, Gametime, today. Those guys are absolutely awesome. Jimmy, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I appreciate you asking. Let's see how this week goes. Spring break week in Alabama. Sort of a break from football. Obviously, the football team, for those, because there's been some questions about this, the football team went on spring break just like all the other students did Friday at about 5 o'clock. Many of the players have gone home. Many of the players are doing a traditional college spring break. I understand a lot of our players have gone to the Florida Gulf Coast. Even heard a rumor that some of our players went to Europe. I guess it's a little different now in the NIL era with travel. But it's just a typical spring break. That's how it's always been. This isn't a DeBoer thing. Exactly how it was under Saban, no different. I understand some coaches have gone to Seattle or home, and coaches are on vacation this week as well. So it really is a week-long break for football. Obviously, basketball team has a huge athletic week. Softball is in the midst of its toughest stretch of the season. Softball at home this weekend travels a midweek game to Florida State, which is an elite program. And then this weekend travels to Athens, Georgia to play maybe the best team in the SEC in Georgia this year. And, of course, the baseball team opens up SEC play at the end of this week. So gymnastics team also on the road at number 1, Oklahoma on Sunday. So brutal sports week, except for football, which is on vacation.
And that's the one most people want to talk about. And we will get to that.
We will.
When I opened, I talked about nuggets. I'm going to talk about recruiting nuggets that came from Bama Online and get some opinions. But, you brought something up that I got to go off script here for a second. You mentioned that some of the football team will be going to Europe. I mean,
heard rumors. I can't swear to that.
Okay. And it makes sense, right? I mean, in this NIL era, I mean, if I was a student, I'd be like, hey, if I was, say, a star quarterback, linebacker, whatever, and I had some money in my pocket and I said I was dating somebody or several somebodies, I would want to take one of them to Spain or to France or to England or Germany or wherever. It makes sense, or the Bahamas. But, boy, when I first heard that, I was like, I wonder, again, this is another offshoot of the NIL era. Like, one thing that was so great about college football was everybody was so hungry to get to the pros to make that money that instead of going to France or Spain or the Bahamas, they may spend their spring break getting training or training themselves or working out or doing something else that would assist the team at, secondarily, in the sense that person would get better. I'm not saying people won't do that, and I'm not saying these players are selfish. Understand what I'm saying, that this is something that is definitely going to have an effect, because the hunger is going to be gone from some of these guys, not all of them, but from some of them. And I think it's just interesting. This NIL thing, we all think we know, NIL is either, an incredible success or a terrible failure. We don't really know yet, because it hadn't been long enough. Just like when you go back and you think about COVID, right? Now it's been 4 years removed. We realize in the moment, we didn't realize some of the mistakes we were making as a society, as a government, as a people. And now 4 years later, we can see, we should have done this, and we did do this, and we shouldn't have done that. Those kind of things. And I feel like that's how NIL is still taking shape. It's just this, weird thing we can't get our hands around.
I'm not sure NIL is a global pandemic, but it's close.
It's a United States pandemic, if you ask me.
One thing though, I know the players are encouraged to continue to work out. Some stay, by the way. There are some players that remain in Tuscaloosa and will just simply train. I know that under Nick Saban, the players were always told, they put in so much work in the fourth quarter program leading up to spring practice, and spring practices are pretty high intensity in terms of the conditioning aspect of it. The players were always warned, hey, if you take a week off from training, and you don't train and you don't work out during this week, you're not going to make it through those first couple of practices when we come back, because we're not going to take it easy on you guys when it comes back. The practices will be the same as ever. So you need to work out during that week so you can just make it through those first couple of practices, particularly the bigger guys who I think, have more struggles in terms of getting through a 2.5 hour grueling practice. But so some players do remain in Tuscaloosa. And I can say, I think, in terms of numbers, it would just be a guess on my part, but I wouldn't be surprised if as much as a fourth of the team actually remained in Tuscaloosa, didn't go anywhere. But I do think, like Luke said, some, because these players just have more discretionary spending than they used to have in the past. So some will do it up bigger than ever. And let's remember, was it just a year ago, we had the issue with the freshman defensive back who got arrested in Panama City. Those charges were eventually dropped. But that was a major story for him, as we know, and it was kind of a long road back for him getting back in the good graces of the team. I'm sure everyone remembers that, and we don't need a repeat of that situation from last year. So we did have a spring break go awry 1 year ago with at least one freshman defensive back.
All right, well, let's get into some of these nuggets. We'll talk about JuJu Lewis, and then we'll talk about guys who we think will commit next right after that. But JuJu Lewis came to Alabama. Yes, he's committed to Southern Cal. Again, I think you and I both would bet serious money he's not going to end up at Southern Cal. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that way to me. JuJu is a fantastic quarterback prospect, probably my favorite physical prospect. And by that, what I mean is I think when you watch JuJu Lewis, his tape, it's hard to find another quarterback in this 2025 class that you're going to like better than JuJu Lewis from a physical ability, from delivering the football. It's just football is so intangibles oriented these days. And that's why it's just almost impossible to get it 100% right from looking at nothing but the tape. But the tape is where you always start, right? And starting with the tape, JuJu Lewis may be the best quarterback in the 25 class. He likes Alabama a ton. No one should be shocked or surprised if JuJu Lewis ends up signing with Alabama. I think it's very realistic. I agree with Luke that USC, where he's committed to now, it just doesn't feel like he's locked in there. It feels like he's almost doing too much looking around to feel comfortable that USC is the spot. I do think Georgia, which is the in-state school for him, Georgia is a significant player for JuJu. Also can't rule out, the Ohio States and the Miamis and the Texas, any school that's really aggressive NIL wise would be a player here probably, particularly when you're talking about the quarterback position. But if you're an Alabama fan that wants JuJu Lewis, here's the good news. It could happen. It's even to the point I think the best word I would use to describe it is realistic. Very realistic that JuJu Lewis signs with Alabama.
Well, you do like the fact that Alabama, I think their quarterback room has got to be rather enticing to him to a degree, at least. I also think Caleb Odom's being there, and Caleb Odom appears to be all-out Bama at this point, so that's got to help a little bit. Of course, Caleb Odom was his teammate there at Carrollton, so I
he's
feel
had a splashy spring, hasn't he?
He has, considered we hadn't had much of a spring. I mean,
he's probably the talk of camp right now. I mean, I think I would go so far to say the talk of camp.
Right? Wouldn't you say Caleb Odom is the talk of camp over even Jalen Milroe?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of, I've listened to every. Well, I think Red Morgan being the Red Morgan thing was such a surprise to me. I don't want to read too much into it yet. I want to see the media will get to attend another practice Thursday when they return from spring break. So 1 week from this Thursday, media will be out there again. I'll be curious to see if Red is still sort of considered a one or doing the drills with the ones. But Caleb, what I'm talking about isn't reports of how incredible he's been in front of watchers of practice. What I mean is the quotes from coaches and the quotes from players and the quotes from recruits who have watched practice have all been like, that big wide receiver that's a freshman is a thing. And Kendrick Law compared him to George Pickens. Now, I'm sure Kendrick Law didn't mean that in the Mel Kiper sense, but still, I think Caleb Odom starting at wide receiver is a bit of a surprise, but he is being bragged on a lot. And boy, having a 6'6" wide receiver with that wingspan, well, that'd be pretty exciting stuff.
Couple of things. First of all, I had to laugh a little bit when you said watchers of practice. That sounds like something, if there was a Game of Thrones for football weirdos, that would be it. Like, your sire, the watchers of practice have arrived in the castle. And also, it also dawned on me that I was like, you know what? I think Jimmy's wearing a vest that makes him look like he's going to coach the Carolina Panthers 10 years in the future.
That is so funny that you mentioned that, because one time I did bring up this is perfect Carolina. I've had this vest way long before Bryce Young was a Panther. But after Bryce Young was drafted, one of my first thoughts was to show how absurd we are sitting around the Stein household after Bryce Young was drafted. I immediately asked, hey, you know that black and blue vest thing I got?
That futuristic black and blue one I have?
How much would it cost to get that Panthers logo sewn on there? Because it would look good.
Or just a hologram. I mean, like, it really does.
It is a vest. It's cold today. It's 31. When I woke up this morning, I had to go. I had to walk around campus. I went to pick up breakfast at 7 o'clock. I walked over there. It's 31 degrees.
Yeah, well, it was too cold. Definitely too cold. But I'm going to tell you about a couple of products that are super hot. One of those hot products, Fire TV. Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, Fire TV is awesome. I got my TV. I'm going to get it set up for right here in my office for the SEC tournament. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire Stick TV, the Fire TV Stick, I should say, that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Boy, I've said TV a lot. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or college basketball tournament or whatever, you want to have that Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. So you can check out me and Jimmy on your Fire TV stick. Okay. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, March Madness, NBA, all that stuff. They got it. What you need to go do is check out Amazon.com Locked On Fire TV. That's Amazon.com Locked On Fire TV, and take our word for it, and take the future coach of the Carolina Panthers, Jimmy Stein's word for it. He loves Amazon.com / Locked On Fire TV. Now I'm going to tell you about Gametime. Yes, that's right. Back-to-back live reads. Lucky you today on this Monday. You shouldn't have to worry about when you're going to buy tickets to your next big event. I don't. I've told you this a million times. Used my Gametime for the Dolphins tickets. Used them for a World Series ticket for my son. Used them for Alabama-Tennessee football game this year. Used them for Alabama-Liberty in Birmingham. I'm telling you, it's awesome. You get killer deals, killer last-minute deals, in fact, all-in prices, views from your seat. It helped me so much, and it was so super easy. Last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, all that stuff. Easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. It can be theater, it can be comedy. Of course, it can be concerts or playoff games or whatever. But I mean, it's best, if you ask me, for sports, just because I'm a sports guy. See the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you get there. That part is huge. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today. Create an account and use code LOCKEDON. That's all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and you redeem code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tight tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Okay, so Jimmy, let's talk about the next guys I think you mentioned yesterday that we kind of half expect And as they said on Family Guy one time, how do you half expect something? But we kind of half.
I do it all the time.
I do it all the time. Seriously. Like I was like, I don't know how to tell you how to half expect something, but I know what I mean when I'm saying it.
Get older, it's just more accurate to say, I think something's going to happen.
Yeah.
When you say it is going to happen and it doesn't, that's no good.
Look, there are a lot of things I didn't think I would know or would be doing. I didn't think I'd have to be, getting my eyebrows shaved down when I get a haircut, but I do now. I'm 51. That's something I have to do, or my eyebrows will get out of control. So, all right. Duke Johnson is who we think will be the next to commit. He's on March 20th, right?
March 20th.
And we've talked about him a little bit. So that was yesterday's. Go check out yesterday's podcast. Jimmy talked about him. We love him a lot. 6'3", 205-pound guy, can be used in a lot of different spots. Then there's Derek Smith.
Oh, I love Derek Smith.
Who you guys consider the number 2 player in the state of Alabama. And from Selma, I would say most people considered him an Auburn lean pre-Saban's leaving. Now, this staff may just like him more, or this staff may be trying to make sure they make a statement in Alabama or whatever. I like Derek Smith a ton. He was one of the guys that through the Saban years, even though I loved everything about Saban, every now and again we'd be passing on an in-state guy, and I'd go, man, I love Saban, and I don't ever want to criticize him for any reason, but kind of wish we had gotten blank. And this is one of those guys, and I'm glad that we are prioritizing him, and I feel like Alabama's going to end up with it.
Yeah, I feel like exactly. He feels very prioritized. Whether the fact that he's from Alabama or not, I don't know how much of a factor that is here. It probably is none based on, where this kid is ranked. He's not a 5-star, but I think he's going to be in the hunt for a 5th star. This will be fun for the star watchers. We've already had what I refer to them as practice watchers. You want to refer to them as, I think they were called White Walkers on Game of Thrones. But star watchers, this is going to be a fun one to watch because I think Derek Smith is a guy all the way through the end of this recruiting cycle. It's going to be, is he going to get that 5th star or not? Now, the way I look at it is, hey, if he's just a real candidate, that means he's a top 50 guy, and top 50 guys are mega elite. More interest about Derek Smith's position. This kid is a do-everything player in high school. He's the quintessential return kicks, return punts, plays receiver, plays DB, can play quarterback, can play running back, sells Cokes at halftime. He's that dude, so he can play any number of positions. Now, this is how modern coaches handle it. Welcome to the age of the transfer portal, which basically means, Derek, where do you want to play? They're not going to make him play any spot. We get asked that stuff all the time, and I think it comes from kind of a relic of the past, sort of a, hey, kids just didn't have a lot of power before. You put them where you put them, and if they didn't like it, tough. Now, kids can leave in 3 minutes. They can decide to leave. So now you play them where they want to play. And Saban has always done that. Saban ahead of everybody else all the time. I heard Nick Saban own ears one time, Luke, he's like, look, I've got to get max effort to get the best out of a player I can get. I've got to get max effort. If he's not thrilled with the position he's playing, I'm probably not getting max effort. I let them play where they want to play within reason. And with Derek, he can play receiver. He can play a number of spots, defensive back. Now, personally, I like him at safety. And this is why. I think at safety, he is uber athletic. Very few safeties are as athletic as him. You can find corners that athletic. You can find receivers that athletic, but not many safeties. And that's why I like him there, because I think he could be a star at that spot. But no doubt he can play other positions. And if you told me right now, well, you got to take him as a receiver, done. Take him. That's how good he is. He's like a little bit, just occurred to me. There's some Keenan Allen in him. Now, I think Keenan's probably a little longer, and that's why Keenan's going to be, I don't know, probably wearing a gold jacket one day or something. But I think in terms of skill set, I see some Keenan Allen, and I think some older Alabama fans will remember when we recruited him. But Keenan would have been a star player at wide receiver or defensive.
He'd have been awesome. Right? I wish we could have gotten him. But, we didn't want to offer the brother, if I remember right. That was part of the
Tosh
deal.
Lupoy beat us for Keenan.
Yeah,
Tosh Lupoy signed him.
He was at Cal at that time? Huh?
Yeah, Tosh signed him at Cal.
But what part of the reason was, too, they took the brother, right, who was a
huge
transfer
reason.
from Buffalo.
It was a huge reason. They wanted the brother was a quarterback at Buffalo, and the brother was transferring at the same time Keenan was about to sign. So they were sort of almost a last-minute package deal. No one thought that they were ever a package deal, but then the brother became available. I did hear after the fact from sources inside the program, Alabama did offer the quarterback a gray shirt type situation, or some level of opportunity. But Cal was ready to commit to the kid as, you're full scholarship. As a matter of fact, you might be our starting quarterback here. And he may have. I'd have to look that up. The kid's name was Maynard, if I remember right. He didn't have the same.
Yeah, Cal was
last
like,
name is Keenan.
Sister a scholarship. Well, she doesn't play football. I don't care.
But I think the kid started games at Cal.
Oh, he
at
did.
Quarterback.
I remember.
think he did.
Yeah. And he wasn't very good. So
it's really no loss for Alabama in that sense. I mean, what we're going to
in hindsight, I would have taken the brother to get Keenan Allen in hindsight.
Yeah,
now,
but the brother would have never played quarterback here.
I understand, but
so I don't know that they ever would have signed here.
We've had other highly recruited guys that didn't play too. What I'm saying is, if I could revise history, I would go back and do that and take one of the guys that didn't contribute that we thought would contribute off. At the time, I was like, we can't afford to. So
some kids are worth 2 scholarships. Some kids are just worth 2 scholarships, and I agree with you that Keenan would have been, but because the brother wanted to play quarterback and because he wanted to play, I just don't think that signing with Alabama was realistic. They weren't going to sign her.
All right, Jimmy, LinkedIn is what we're going to talk about now. And you love LinkedIn. Quit playing. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. That's crazy talk. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that businesses are wearing many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. So look, post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions, well, they're going to apply. All right, so for this last segment, Jimmy, we're going to talk about, first of all, the SEC bracket is completely set. It starts on Wednesday. By the way, the SEC women's tournament got mighty spicy yesterday. I mean, there was almost a fight. A brother of one of the girls jumped out onto the court, and then he looked up and saw South Carolina's 6'8" Amazonian woman and was like, "No."
And I think he was arrested. Or he was at least hauled away by the police.
Frankly, he should be. And, there were some people saying, well, he was trying to defend his sister. It's not his place to do that.
No, it's not. That's worse than court storming, by the way. Worse.
Totally. Worse. And props to the cop who followed him immediately onto the court and got him. And look, you just can't do that. And I don't give a dang that if it's your sister, your mama, if your mama's out there.
They got teammates.
I say the same thing about football, little league football, whatever, the hockey dads or the soccer moms, that if somebody gets hit, if they take a hard lick in some sport, as the dad, you can't run out there and threaten the kid that did it, or a mom. No. You can't do it. You just can't. And you can't do it as the brother, especially during the deadgum SEC tournament. Now, ironically, this may be the best thing to happen to women's basketball because it's been the talk of the town. And so, again, they're getting discussed. But that being said, the men's tournament is coming up Wednesday. And, it looks like for all the world, Alabama's going to be playing Florida. Now, could something change? Florida is going to play the winner of Georgia and Missouri. And they have already beaten Georgia twice this year. And I don't know how many times they played Missouri, but they beat them however many times they played them because Missouri hadn't beaten drop in the league. So, I feel like it's going to be Florida. Now, Florida did just lose to Vanderbilt on the road. I understand they just lost in Nashville, ironically, at Vanderbilt, obviously. So Alabama can beat Florida. They've done it before. I am very leery of this matchup. Then I'm even leerier of playing potentially Kentucky in the next round.
Yeah,
and
brutal.
If we
brutal draw.
What worries me is if we get through those two, I think ultimately in the championship game, if I were predicting right now, I'd predict Auburn there.
Auburn over Tennessee, for real.
Yes.
You shocked me there, man. And I know Tennessee didn't look so great in their last game, and Auburn's probably is due for a big win. Auburn's a good team. I'd still say Tennessee in the final, and I'll go. I know we're just about done. Go out on a real downer here. I'll say Alabama squeaks by Florida. Squeaks.
And then loses to Kentucky.
And then loses to Kentucky on Saturday.
And you know what, Jimmy? I'm down. I mean, I'm not down with it in the sense that, but I'm okay. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I'm just not going to hurt my feelings much if we lose to Florida game one. I don't think it's
Tennessee beating Kentucky, though. I think I like Tennessee to beat Kentucky on Sunday and win the.
And Kentucky laid it. Oh, now Tennessee walloped Kentucky game one in Kentucky. Kentucky returned the favor. I just feel like Kentucky's gelling right now. But the one thing that you can't count on with Kentucky, they're so young, you don't know what they're going to do.
Right. And I like Tennessee's the veteran bunch at Tennessee. I would like them to win this tournament. Again,
be a fun matchup.
This is a team, Tennessee, I think they're still underrated. Tennessee was picked to win this league when people thought Dalton Knecht was a guy and not the dude.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee was picked to win the league when people thought Dalton Knecht was just any other transfer. And look at him. He's the best player in the league. So this Tennessee team can be really good, but Kentucky's very good. Auburn's really good. Alabama is good. The analytics, by the way, I saw a stat the other day. It's interesting. Look, I don't know how they do this. KenPom, I think, has this stat, and I'm a fan of the work they do at KenPom. They have a luck thing where they measure a team's luck, whether you have good luck or bad luck. Alabama's luck is like 230th.
First of all, I both hate and enjoy that they do that. Let me tell you why. I like there be some things being shrouded in mystery. Do you remember in Star Wars, and we've already talked about this on a podcast because somebody's already corrected me, but remember on Star Wars when they were able to measure a Jedi's metachloridians or high cholesterol or whatever it was to determine how big of a Jedi they were or whatever?
You could measure the force in somebody?
Yeah, because they were like, he's got so much force. I was like, you can't measure the force. You just have the force. It's so dumb. And luck, I like luck being this thing that is intangible that we can't quantify.
Right.
I do. I like the mystery of it. I don't want to figure out everything. Somebody else has already killed me in the comments because I talked about this the other day about how we don't always need to know how the sausage is made when it comes to having all this access for the media. And they were like, but that's learning and that's growing. I was like, yeah, but sometimes I just like to, it's like going to a movie and being able to suspend disbelief. Like, I want to go in and believe like, oh man, somebody could make a suit made of iron that he could fly around and blow up stuff in Afghanistan in 2 seconds. Like, that sounds kind of cool. Like, if I were a billionaire, I would be working on that. Of course it's not going to happen, but I like to think it could happen. Don't tell me that it can't happen. But
my point with the luck was just simply per KenPom, Alabama's due a lot.
I did sort of get off the rails. I'm sorry.
No, but I like it. But Alabama's due a lot of luck per KenPom. And
is that what that means?
I think so. I mean, to me, things even out. And if Alabama's had some very bad luck, and luck is this. To me, luck is this. I'm assuming this is, and boy, that could be really wrong. Somebody has an open three. You've played poor defense and someone has a wide open three. They make it or they miss it. If you have good luck, they miss it. If you have bad luck, they make it. It seems like Alabama's had a lot of bad luck when it comes to the wide open threes.
When Mitchell missed that easy dunk, like with 30-something seconds left.
Yes.
And you could have called a foul. I mean, they showed all these.
Well, what about free throw percent? It's not like you defend free throw percentage.
Yeah.
And what if the stats say the average Florida averages 72% free throw, but against Alabama, they were 88%. That's some bad luck because they're normally not that good. it's not like you defend the day at the free. Now you can keep teams off the free throw line, but I'm talking about make percentage once they're there. So there are ways you can measure, good luck, bad luck. But anyway, per Ken Palm, Alabama's luck has been really, really, really bad. So maybe we're due. And if that's the case,
is it like so LSU's luck would have been, I mean, you're saying LSU would have been really low on that scale when Herb Jones had to make 2 right-handed free throws with the broken wrist, right? I mean, that's what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying that the odds of that going in weren't real good. And
I agree.
They did.
But there's part of me that wants to think that was just Herb Jones being the biggest Bama basketballer Bama ever. And
that's her being Herb.
I hate when somebody quantifies it as, that means that LSU is 332nd in the luck category. I
don't know. I don't know how they calculate it. I'm just assuming, wide open misses would be a part of luck, bad luck.
See, I want to believe
schedule.
that Jordan Hare is built on the burial ground of dead leprechauns and unicorns, and also made from metal from a fallen spaceship. I want to believe that. That's what I want to believe.
I'm not going to stop you.
Thank you. Okay, look, we're out of time, and I got baseball on there again, and we didn't get to it. Have you ever watched Saturday Night Live when Kenan Thompson does What's Up With That? He's like the black preacher.
Yeah. What's up with that?
And every show, like he sings so much at the end, he's always like, I got Lindsey Buckingham. And he's like, Lindsey, we've run out of time again, brother. From Fleetwood Mac. And
Kimmel does it with Matt Damon.
Baseball's our Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, Kimmel does it with Matt Damon.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah, we had to bump Matt Damon.
By the way,
we're bumping baseball. Baseball won again. Baseball swept Lipscomb. Baseball team playing really well. Starts SEC play this week.
And I want to say this really quickly. I tried to watch the Oscars. I tried to. Those people are starting to make me more and more sick every time I see them. Like they're so full of themselves.
I watch it. I like it.
All right.
I don't. The technical awards is where they start losing me a little bit, just because I lose a little interest in the middle when they start giving out awards to things that I'm not really sure they're things, and they give out awards for that.
Hate it. Yeah, you're right about that. But I also really hate it when they do their little comedy skits. There was one funny one yesterday with Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
That was really good. The Batman thing.
The Batman thing was good because Michael Keaton. All of a sudden I was like, all right, Michael Keaton just won me back. He's the Batman. Like not Adam West, not Christian Bale, and definitely not Val Kilmer. Is this dude?
Yeah, I think that's a fair. I think that's a fair thing to say. I think when I say Batman, I think Michael Keaton. Though my favorite Batman movies were the Christian Bale Batman movies, the Christopher Nolan trilogy was the best Batman movies ever. But when I say who's Batman, yeah, I'm cool with Michael Keaton's Batman.
But it is weird to know that Mr. Mom is also Batman.
It just doesn't look right, by the way, with Michael Keaton out in the crowd doing the "Come Get You Some" to Arnold Schwarzenegger, by the way.
That's true. While he's got his scarf tucked into his ascot, tucked into his shirt. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Because my wife was like, that's a good look. You should do that. I was like, there's no circumstance where I would do that. There's not a circumstance. So if I were going to a Michael Keaton lookalike contest from the Oscars 2024, I wouldn't wear that. So anyway, all right, that's going to do it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, Jimmy may be here tomorrow already with his futuristic costume. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.